Hello, my name's Barbara Gray from Clarity Stamps here in the UK, and welcome to YouTube Tuesday. Today I would like to try something quite novel for me, and that's using a die embossing machine. So I've got my faithful eBosser here, and I wanted to use it in connection with our Chromo card, which is a really ultra glossy card, and some alcohol inks, and one of our cool stencils, which is our snowflake, two-part snowflake stencils, which are really great. Okay, so I thought I'd try and emboss for you, and so what I've got here is I've padded out underneath this mat. I've padded out with lots of paper, and then I'm going to put the card glossy side down. And then I'm going to take my stencils, and the idea is that the stencils then are going to be pushed. The card is going to get pushed around like so. So I've done that, and then I've got another, and this is a hard board. This is a hard piece now. There we go. And then I'm going to just put this through here. So that's how I've made my sandwich. And I'm just going to let that run through, and then we'll have a look. And I think it works really fantastic on this card. Okay, come out the other side. Let's take a look. So we've taken that away, and we'll remove our snowflakes. They look great, don't they? When I flick this over, you see, I've got our embossed snowflakes there. Really, really excellent. I hope you can see this. And what we're going to do now is make a really nice winter wonderland landscape. So I'm going to take that away, and let's get started. So this takes a little while, and I'm not going to rush it, but what we will do is fast forward at certain points. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a piece of copy paper underneath here. At the moment you can't see much at all, can you? But it will all come good in the end. And then I'm going to take my blending tool and a piece of felt. Now what's important is how we load the ink to make this landscape. So first of all, let's concentrate on the sky. So I'm going to start, I tend to play it safe. So what I'm going to do is start with a light colour. This one is called Shell Pink. Shell Pink is good, salmon is good, a nice sunset colour. And what we're going to do is just add a couple of dots of Shell Pink, like so. There we are. That's how we're going to load that up. And for me, what's very important is using a blending solution. I find this softens the colours dramatically. So I'm just going to put a little bit of blending solution over the top of that. Now let's just check where we're going with that. Okay, and then maybe even a little bit more pink in the centre so that it goes a bit faster. And then what I want to do is just start dancing around the snowflakes like this. Just dancing around, making a kind of an undercoat. There we are. Let's make an undercoat. And across the bottom a little bit as well. There we go. And what happens is the blending solution, you can always add a bit more if you feel you need to. The blending solution really spreads the colours nicely. So let's have a go. Let's try it again on a piece of scrap to make sure. And then we'll bring it in from the bottom as well. There we go. Right. And a bit more at the top in the corners. So this is going to really show through. All right. Now I'm going to use 3 different felts for the different colours. So I'll just put my lid on there for the moment. And now we'll start again. You know, I really like to play it safe. And now we'll start to build up the colour with a lighter colour of blue. So this time I'm going with Stone Washed. This is quite a nice colour too. Now this time, again, what I want to do is just add a couple of dots in a row, like this. There we are. dots in a row. You can always add it, but you can't take it away. And then we're going to add a little bit of, just a row there of blending solution underneath. Right, so we've got our blue in a row. Do you see? There we go. And then, again, I want to start at the top and start working my way through. Here we are. So we'll just start bringing in some blues. And you'll see the snowflakes start to appear in the sky. And when we get to this area, I'm going to go easy, because that's going to be my landscape. Up in the top, you can go really hard at it and quite vibrant. Right, so I'm just going to build this up. There we go. When I need a bit more, I'll go and get a bit more. So this will take me about 10 to 15 minutes. When I change colours, we'll slow down again. Right, so I've added some stone washed now, and I'm starting to build up a little bit of a landscape. So we've got a bit of a horizon here, and slowly you can start to see the snowflakes coming out. But now we need to go darker, and this is where we have to tread quite carefully, because you can overcook it. So I'm going to take I've got my pink and my blue. I'm going to take another felt now. And the thing is with these felts, when they're dry, you can use them again and again. You just need to just rough it up a little bit, and then you can use them again and again. They're great, but I just thought it would be important to use a fresh one so that you could see exactly actually how much I'm using. And I think this time I'm going to use a stream, which is quite a vibrant colour, a green. So again, we'll tread easily, and we'll just add a couple of little drops again. There we go, just in the centre, along there. And once again, I'm going to dilute that with some blending solution. So let's have a go again. Okay, this is good. Right, now this time I want to add some hills. But before I do that, I want to make the background of the snowflakes in the sky quite vibrant, and this is where we need to, it looks like a bit of a mess. It gets a lot messier before it gets better now, but we just want to keep this area clear, and then we're just going to start gently adding a bit of the stream. So you see, if you add a bit of the blending solution, when you do this, it just tones it down, and you can watch it just disperse, which is quite nice and very therapeutic. So I'm just going to carry on with this now for a little while and let my landscape build as I add this darker colour. You know, I was at a gallery, an art gallery yesterday, and I was looking at some of the masterpieces, and I have to say, you know, when I looked at these beautiful pieces of artwork, it became very apparent to me that many, 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 many hours were being spent on these fantastic, fantastic art pieces. So, you know, what can you do in 15 minutes on YouTube? Well, there you go. So just bear with me while I add some darkness. We'd need to get the areas around the back of the snowflakes really dark. I've got a trick up my sleeve, and I shall show you in a minute. Okay. And now for the darkest colour. For the last colour, I'm going to pick denim. And again, I'm going to use a fresh felt. And, you know, I could go back to the stone-washed felt and use that because obviously blues are blue. But if I wanted to go back in and add some lightness, then I couldn't, could I? So let's take a look here. I'm just going to add a little bit of blending solution before we even begin. And then I'll just add a little tiny bit of the dark blue. And I can always add more denim, but I can't take it away. So let's check it out. Right, now what I want to do now is concentrate on the snowflakes. So round we go, really a lot in the sky now, where the snowflakes are. Dramatic. Okay. Okay, I think for the sake of the technique that I want to show you, this will do. This dries very quickly. That's one of the things, of course, about alcohol ink, is that it dries very quickly, which is a good thing. So this is already dry now. Let's take a look at it. What I've done here is I've tried to create a really dark and moody sky, and there's an opening here, and more will be revealed as we go on. But as long as this is dry, which it obviously already is, I want to show you how we can bring out now these snowflakes. So what we've got here is a bit of sandpaper, and I've put it on one of our mounts with a bit of Velcro, and the reason for that is it needs to be flat, otherwise it will scratch the rest of the surface. And I'm going to go gently, so I can always take more away, but I can't put it back. And what we want to do, let's just start up here, and I'm going to scratch. You see, because we've got such a really good emboss, I want to scratch the surface from the glossy card. And because, of course, it hits the snowflake before it hits anything else, let's have a look. Yes, perfect. The snowflakes come out. This is why we wanted the background of the snowflake to be really dark and dramatic. You'll see, it doesn't have to come out completely, but some. And you'll understand now why we made the sky so dark. Right, let's just scratch away the top. Just get rid of some of this. I love this technique. This looks so good. It's just a question. You know, the most important thing is to take your time when you do it. Now, let's just scratch away the surface. And you can work away and take away more and more. Let me just get a cloth so that I can wipe this clean, and then you'll see the snowflakes coming through. It's very arty, this is very arty. And it's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think, especially if you use lots of blending solution. Now, let's take a look. If you just want to get a bit more going, but I think you get the picture. Right. There we are. So that's why we use that ultra glossy card as well. Now let's see if we can pick up this superb snowflake effect now. Let's have a look. If I bend it a bit, maybe you'll see it really well, and you'll see the landscape starting to come together. Okay. So the next thing, and do you know the other thing that's really cool is, as you go round, you rough up the edge of the card. and it looks really sort of distressed by sanding the glossy. It's really cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Right, so what we're going to do now, though, is we're going to stamp a couple of images into place. And we've got Clarity Stamps. The clue is in the name. We've got some fantastic stamps. This is from a small set of Winter Wonderland, it's called. If you go to our website, www.claritystamp.co.uk, Winter Wonderland, fantastic little set. Thing is, though, when you're stamping on glossy, if you're a seasoned stamper, you'll know this. It's always awful because you feel you're going to slide around. So what I want to do is recommend two things. First of all, we're going to add a little bit of talcum powder to the picture, just in the area that we want to stamp in. Right, this will reduce the slipability. And I'm going to use a, because that's another thing, when you're stamping on glossy card like this isn't clarity card, this isn't just a mount board, you know, coated stock. This is shiny, I mean, ultra glossy, Chromolux, chromo card. When you're stamping on Chromolux or chromo card, you have to use a permanent ink pad. Dye-based inks just won't sit on it, it won't stay. So I'm using cornflower blue. I'm going to use a cornflower blue. I want it to be a bit misty. And I'm going to take my cornflower blue and I'm going to stamp it in. But you know, I want to make sure, because I'm really happy with this, I think this looks great, and I want to make sure that it's going to be okay. So for the sake of art, I want to show you something. If I ink this stamp up and then I stamp it straight onto glossy card, this is without any talcum powder or anything. Very dark, isn't it? Right, now let's have a look. If I blot it first on a piece of copy paper and then I stamp it, let's see what it looks like then. Very muted, very misty, second generation ink, we know that. So we've got choices. I know that now, and I know how it's going to sit on this card. So the first thing I want to do is ink up my stamp, and I think what I'm going to do is just very lightly, not too much, I want somewhere in between. I want to stamp my tree. Let's just put this tree into this area here, like so. Gently does it, because we don't want to slip and slide. Wouldn't that be frustrating after all that? You see how misty it is? It looks like it's almost not there. This is what I'm after, is that really, really sort of haunted look. And then the next thing I want to do is take my stag. Right, once again, this is the stag. So we're just going to lay him down gently on a piece of copy paper, like that. It's not blotting it, but it's getting, oh, that's maybe a bit too much. I don't want to lose him altogether, because I can't go back over him, can I? What do I do here? All right, just a tiny bit. Right, so we're going to put the stag in place now. And you look at where you've put your landscape. Here we go. And you're going to put his feet in a logical place. So let's stamp him into place. Like so. He's at the front, so he can afford to be a bit darker. Yes. Look, see how misty he is? And then we'll do the last one. Right, now this is the little fawn. This one I want to be really misty. So we'll ink, blot, and then I'm going to plot this fawn in the distance, but very faded. He's just standing in the opening like so. Less is more. Perfect. Love it. Love it. So you see how faded they are. Right. Now, if you wanted to, you could always go back in and actually add a little tiny bit to where their feet are so they don't look like they're floating. And maybe when nobody's watching, I'll do that. But let's take a look now at the finished effort. You see, you've got your landscape, you've got your moody picture, and then when you mount this on a beautiful piece of board and polish it, because it can afford to be dusted. I'm not going near it for the moment because I know that this ink won't be completely dry. But I did one earlier that I'm going to show you. There we are, you see, almost the same, but different, because it would be absolutely impossible to duplicate this. Thanks very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed that. Have fun with alcohol inks and Chromocard. Bye-bye now.